Hey guys, welcome to Sports Talk 225. Stu Puffer here from the BRCC Bears basketball locker room with Coach Byron Starks. Coach,
How you doing, Stu?
long time in the making.
Yes, sir. I'm glad we can get it done.
We've been talking about this for a while. I go back, and when I said it's just going to be a couple guys, sit back, we're going to talk.
Yeah.
Um, and I was thinking about it on the ride over, how fitting it is that we're doing this now.
Perfect timing.
It really is. And if you think about it, man, I, all the things that we're going to talk about, we
Hmm.
kind of know
Yeah.
the lanes we're gonna
Yeah.
swerve in and out of,
Yeah.
but the fact that we met
Hmm.
by sheer accident
In
or
the
by
parking
fate
lot. Yeah, in the parking lot.
or by God's grace,
Yes.
one of those things,
Yeah.
in the parking lot. I was coming. We had just really started this thing,
Hmm.
and Sports Talk 225, and we were covering the EBR Parish Tournament.
That's right.
You guys had just finished up a practice. I think y'all were getting ready to head to Texas,
That's
if
right.
memory
Yeah.
serves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just kind of chit chatted for
Hmm.
a few minutes,
Yeah.
and it was pretty cool, man. And so I just in our brief interaction then, and we've communicated
Yeah.
and shared your story with me throughout the process. I know you've been
Hmm.
following us. You've been instrumental in connecting us here with BRCC,
Yep.
with Brock,
Yep.
and getting some spotlight to the softball team.
Hmm.
So we've done 4 games for the softball team.
Yeah,
They've
amazing.
won 3 of the 4.
Oh.
So
Well, we need to keep you in the fold.
we will be back for the LSU Eunice coming
Okay.
up,
Uh-oh.
your old
That's my
stomping
old
ground.
stomping grounds there.
Yep. So, man, it's just great to have you here and us to do this, as something a little bit separate of our normal
Yeah.
episodes of us just talking about kind of what we've been covering and doing
Mhm.
that. And we have a blast doing those things.
Yeah.
But today, kind of an opportunity to sit back, talk to you about your journey, your experiences, your faith, all
Yeah.
the things,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
So, everybody else, welcome to Sports Talk 225. We're not just talking sports today, we're telling stories that matter. Today's a special one, sitting with Coach Byron Starks to talk basketball, life, loss, purpose, and faith. So, Coach, kind of kick it off there, man. Let's talk about your coaching journey and how it all began, not
Mhm.
just at coaching, but when you fell in love with basketball.
Well, it's been a long time, 30 years of coaching, and I started because I wanted to be involved in my children's lives. And after I finished playing college ball, I had a professional stint, and I was at a point where I wanted to know if what God wanted me to do. I trained with the Miami Heat, Utah Jazz, and played in the USBL with the Memphis Fire, and I went over to the Netherlands, and I was at a critical juncture in my life. So I came back, finished up, got my degree, and I started coaching at Assembly Christian School for a whopping $13,000 a year.
Oh boy, big
So
money.
yeah, big money deal. That's how one of those contracts. That's a 10-year deal, and for me it was a dream come true because it allowed me to learn the game from the coaching side, from the ground up. And I started coaching there. I was in Lafayette, Louisiana. Um, and I loved it. I'd always wanted to coach, but my passion was to coach after I retired from playing
From playing,
professional
yeah.
basketball. And but God had different plans. And I can remember doing those stages of growing the program, and it felt good because you have a natural talent, God-given talent. But when you're coaching guys that don't have that, it brings a whole lot more out in you, and in return, it just sharpens your tools. So I was able to do that, and we were at a place where we didn't have a gym, so I had to
Oh wow.
practice outdoors at times, and find these little places in town to try to practice. So that taught me a lot. I cut my teeth there, and from that stage, I went to Northside Christian School in Crowley, grew that program. I transitioned them from the private school league to the public school league, and we had some success there. By the time I left, we made it as far as the quarterfinals with the top 28. Then they got a little bit more recognition, so that's why I went to Lafayette Christian Academy, and the floodgates just opened there, and I took that opportunity because it was a good market. Pastor Jay Miller, who's the president and the pastor there at the church, came and we talked, and from there we grew that program into a powerhouse. So basketball was the start of all of that growth at Lafayette Christian Academy.
Wow.
And it was the vision again of Pastor Jay Miller. And then from there, you can see what they've done with the football programs, the women's, the
Yeah.
girls basketball program. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the beginning was you spent a lot of time in the Acadianas.
it's about a lot of time in the K-Down area. Yep, yep.
Yep.
But all Louisiana,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I said to me that was the biggest thing because I feel like Louisiana has a lot of athleticism, a lot of good crop of talent. We don't get the recognition as some of the other programs or spaces because of maybe just location, but you look at the ones that are in the NFL and even some of our guys that are playing in the NBA
Yeah.
right now,
So I mentioned this in our show on Monday after the Jay Johnson with Jay Johnson. Jay
Yeah,
Johnson was present
Lisa.
after the Will Wade press conference.
Yeah.
We did just kind of an impromptu show. Big news day. Jump on it.
Yep.
Is per capita, the 225 has more players than anywhere else in the country in basketball that go to the next level.
Yes, you're right.
And I mean, it's you
But
don't
just
they
look at
don't
the
talk
time.
about it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you look at the time when Coach Brady was here, when
Yeah,
Tyrus
Brady
Thomas,
ball.
Big Baby Glenn Davis, Stromile Swift, Brandon Bass.
Yeah.
That was a lot of guys. The Temple brothers,
Tasman Mitchell.
Tasman. Yeah, yep. Who's on the staff right now, on the staff at that particular moment. But I tell you what,
Yeah.
all of that talent.
I think he stays because Will Wade's the one who originally hired him.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I think
yeah,
he
yeah.
stays.
No, he's a good guy. He's a good
Tasman
guy
is
as well.
great for the community,
Yeah.
and a heck of a recruiter for the community
Oh
too.
man,
I mean, being from here, live here,
yeah.
about it.
The gift of gab. He has the skill set. He has the experience. So why not trust somebody who's been there, done that?
Absolutely, Coach. So with that, staying on your coaching journey, who influenced your coaching style? Because I've had the pleasure of watching you coach,
Yeah.
and coaching in a game against a team that came in on a high because they had beat you the last time, and then you beat the snot out of them.
Yeah. Well, my influence came from Coach Michael Lyons, and that's my high school coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach here in Louisiana. He's passed away last 3 or 4 years, but in that little small town of Grambling, Louisiana, he coached guys like Paul Millsap,
Oh,
who
wow.
had a career
Oh, yeah.
19, a long-standing career in the NBA. Antonio Hudson, who played here at LSU, he was the SEC Freshman of the Year in his years here, and Gerald Honeycutt was our first McDonald's All-American. Played for the 76ers, played at Tulane, and then myself, I played with the Raging Cajuns.
Yep.
And so we had a pretty good uh, crop of talent. 47 Division I players came from that little era. And I saw how Coach Lyons ran his program, so he was my biggest influence in terms of that. He showed me the blueprint on how to win games and, most importantly, how to win people.
Man, that's awesome. And so with that here at BRCC, knowing the success that you had at LSU Eunice, now being here, running a successful program here, what do you want your players to take beyond the game from your time?
Well, we mold men, and that's been my motto. I had a program called Building Better Boys, and because I have 3 sons, I carry that same disciplinary actions and the teachings that I taught them over into my program. And I want those young men, when they leave here, is more than a 2-year relationship. We want to turn a 2-year relationship into a potential 20-plus year relationship.
Yeah.
I want to know about their kids, their jobs, their families, and I've been in it long enough, thankful to know that I have a lot of guys that are doing exceptionally well now. As a matter of fact, this past weekend, one of my former players from Assembly Christian came back, had his son with him, and introduced his son to me and said, "This is my coach, and he's doing exceptionally well in the engineering program, married a doctor." And
Oh, nice.
so
Very nice.
those are all the testimonies and the stories that you love to hear. But that's the most important thing because this is a man journey.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard anything about the history of basketball or why it was started, but it was a missionary project initially because it was so cold outside, and they had to have some type of activity for the kids that they were on the mission field working
To keep
for,
them warm.
keep them warm and stay inside
Engaged.
and
Yeah.
engaged. And so I look at this as a mission field, and I tell people regularly that I'm just God's agent disguised as a basketball coach.
So I've said this several times, and I have, it's just kind of stuck in my head about what our purpose is and what
Yeah.
we're trying to do with Sports Talk 225.
Hmm.
and spotlight programs, players
Yeah.
that typically would not get that opportunity, and put it out there. And from a coaching standpoint, and for us, it's to bring it to attention is, you know, you can be a good player on any given day, but you can be a great person
Oh,
every day.
every day. That's a
Every day.
choice. That's a choice.
Right. And so, like you said, this is a man journey.
Hmm.
You have that opportunity to be a good man
Yeah.
every day.
Every day.
You that can, what happens on the floor can be taken away from you in the blink of an eye.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And again, life can be so fleeting as well. So, you can walk on that court one day and you can walk off and never be able to play basketball again. So
Yeah.
I tell guys, be thankful when you go on and be thankful when you come off and taking full advantage of it. And I've been blessed. I've had some great players and some great young men that have come through my program. And at the end of it all, you can win a lot of ball games, but your biggest championships are what you do, the seeds you plant in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, this will kind of transition now from, talking about the coaching journey, where we're at now, to, our second segment, and where we kind of, bridge that gap into how the healthy hooper came along,
Hmm.
the loss of your brother. How did losing your brother impact you?
Oh, that's huge. Anytime you have a sibling that's gone, you've been around them pretty much all your life, and then after 46 years, God says it's time to come home. So on July 26th, 2024, my baby brother died, and he was battling with cancer. And in that process, I said, look, you need to get healthy or die trying. And we started a little process, and I started eating well. I said, I'm going to do it with you. And I started feeling better. My joints got better, my eyesight got better, hearing got better, and even clarity of mind. And I just continued it as a lifestyle. And unfortunately, my brother passed away. And once I started pursuing it, I said, you know what, I'm going to do something to honor him. And it was ignited. My mission was to start the Healthy Hooper a year later, which I always break it down as, if you break down the word THE, replace that with GOD. You take the word healthy, split it in two, and it says heal thy, or if we translate it, heal
Y-
your. And then I put Hooper there, which is basically servant. As I mentioned before, I'm God's agent disguised as a basketball coach. So when you put it together, is God heal your servant. And it could be the healthy custodian, it could be the healthy coach, healthy chancellor, whatever it is, it becomes a lifestyle. And basically, it's the healthy you,
Yeah,
becoming the highest version
absolutely.
of yourself and the best version that God created you to become. And that's how the journey started. And it was ignited by my son's death. I was going to start the program on July 24th, I'm sorry, July 26th, 2025, which was a year after my brother's death. And on that day, I'm putting to rest my firstborn.
Yeah.
So God has a funny way of working things, but I believe out of those seeds that were planted, and I look at it in my brother's life as a seed planted and my son's life as a seed planted, to where we can touch many more beyond what they would be able to touch if they were here. And
Yeah.
God's going to use me as that agent and many other people around the world.
Yeah, no doubt about that. So, I mean, the inspiration for the healthy hooper came from the sickness,
Yes.
and then said, "Hey, let's clean it. I'll do it
Yep.
with you. We do it together."
Yeah.
Unfortunately for your brother, it was
Hmm.
kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
too little, too
Yeah.
late
Yeah.
situation. And then a year later, your son passes away. Like, it
Hmm.
was
Oh,
trying times, obviously.
it was my Job moment, as I tell people. But
Yeah,
they say when you're going through hell, don't stop, keep going.
keep
And
going.
and and,
Right.
and that's my mission. And it's to, it didn't waver my faith. I think it's stronger than ever. And I know through those tests, you have those trials. But as they say, through your test, it becomes a testimony. And we're able to share with so many people, which we'll talk about the book here in a little bit. I was able to uh, write a book in honor of my son
Yep.
and my brother,
Got
which is
that coming up.
yep, with BJ Beach, the morning rush. But in the end, the healthy hooper concept is just to teach not just athletes but all people how to eat living foods. When we eat living foods, we bring life to our bodies, and that was something that I learned in this process. And again, I didn't lose so much, as I say, I didn't lose weight as much as I lost waste. And that meant stuff that was pretty much draining your body or bringing you down. But since I've been eating a lot of living foods or
Yeah.
whole foods like, fruits and vegetables, nuts, um, quinoa, lentils, things of that nature has
I,
been
I
very good.
I remember when we came and covered that game. You said healthy in, healthy out,
That's right.
like
That's
clean
right.
in, clean out, something
It
like
just,
that.
well, it's clean fuel. If you put clean fuel in your body, then you're gonna have clean fuel coming out, and then
Yeah.
it's just a constant cycle of you rebuilding yourself. And we talk about a spiritual born again, but that was more like a physical born again experience that I had. And early in the phase, and I tell people don't start too fast because you'll literally feel like you're dying. And I
Yeah.
and I went through that process. I ate lion's mane mushroom, and I went into anaphylactic shock, which I learned later it was called the Herxheimer effect. I'm not sure if you heard of that or not.
Not
But
that part. I've had anaphylactic shock before, so I
yeah,
might do
well,
some more research on that.
it's basically a healing crisis. We eat what
Yeah.
we eat, and for so long, you've had all these. They say these parasites or worms within your body. Then all of a sudden, it becomes a shock to them, and then now these microtoxins are being dumped into your bloodstream, and now your organs are being protected as
Ah.
as they should be, and that's where we get the anaphylactic shock from, or the
Okay.
Herxheimer effect, which is again that healing crisis and that physical born again experience,
Yeah.
the
It's
the new
interesting.
version of yourself.
I know. I remember I was telling you the story that end of last year, end of October,
Mhm.
um, the doctor had seen some little issues in my heart, and it that was enough to scare me. And I
Yeah.
was just like, so he put me on this medicine for a 30-day period, and I was just like, okay, well, I'm not doing anything during that 30 days. And during this part of the year, I mean, I had really gotten back like strong into my faith,
Yeah.
making sure that I'm at church on
Yep.
Tuesday nights, on Sunday I don't miss. I'm
Hmm.
serving. I'm doing everything, that I can. And the clean eating came,
Yeah.
and like I just quit drinking
Hmm.
entirely. I was
Yeah.
like, I wanted that 30 days. I wanted to
Yeah.
see if this was going to work or not.
And that's where most discipline start, 21 to 30 days.
Yeah, and it was just like, and then I felt so good.
Yes.
Everything at 30 days was so good
Yeah. Yeah.
that I was just like, well, yeah, I can't. The doctor didn't tell me to stop drinking. The doctor didn't tell me to do
Mm-mm.
this, that, or the other. I just
No.
did all these things. I don't
No.
even need half the medicines I was on anymore.
I'm telling you,
It's an amazing
yeah,
thing.
yeah. They say your genetics or your genes are like a light switch. You can turn them off or you can turn them on. Now,
I
as they
believe it.
say that you have this your lifestyle and genetics. So they say genetics load the gun,
Hmm.
but lifestyle pulls the trigger.
Right.
So you
Absolutely.
you
No
have the
doubt.
chance to kind of reverse. They
I
could
think I've
say,
lost like 30 pounds and haven't even tried.
hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you probably lost 30 pounds of waste, or at least a
It
good
weight for
percentage of
sure.
that.
For sure.
That you really didn't need. They say when Elvis Presley died, they had maybe about 40 pounds of food still in his belly.
Oh,
You know what
wow.
I'm saying?
And
So
I'm not even hungry.
it's amazing because now,
I
now,
have to force myself to drink fluids. Like,
yeah, like my wife fixed me a meal, and I'm like, I can't even eat all of this,
no,
and because you have the channels of elimination are open,
they
right?
are, right?
So now what needs to get there to the parts of your organs, they're getting there. It's getting there easy,
It's the flow.
as
Yeah.
opposed to fighting through the layers of stuff that you've been eating for years and years, and you're just getting a little portion of it. So now I feel hungry after a while, and now I got to do the same cycle again and again.
Yeah. So, I mean, I can attest to it. And I mean, like I said, I feel better.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
better. Matter of fact, I've got to the next time I go to my cardiologist, I'm pretty sure going to be completely taken off of even a blood pressure medicine,
Hey,
because it's made like my blood pressure used to stay elevated, my heart rate was high because it was
yes,
overworking,
yeah.
and now he's cut me from 3 medications down to one in a very minimum amount,
Hmm.
but it's still like my top number is hovering right around 100
Yeah,
only.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then, man, if I stay squatted down for 30, 40 seconds and stand back up, I'm about to hit the
About to
ground
fall over.
because
Yeah.
my blood pressure drops even
Mm-hmm.
further.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a testament to how resilient the body is when
Yes.
you do the right things with the body.
Oh, well, the body's thanking you at that moment.
Yeah.
It's saying, "Hey, you finally got it." And
Yeah. Yeah.
again, it's so amazing because our bodies are like this. Let's say the temple, and then if you take care of it, you'll see that it starts taking care of you.
Yep.
It regenerates. You feel fresh. You feel like, if I just get rest, which that rest is short for restoration. So you
Yeah.
get your rest. Now you feel like you feel it. So if I get 4 or 5 hours of sleep now, I feel
The
good. I still
sleep is
feel like
different.
that's right.
It's different.
Because you can sleep, but resting, man, is amazing.
It is. It is. It is so much different, man. I'll remember there'd be times you just feel so sluggish and down. You lay around or you think you're sleeping. You're just tossing and turning.
Yep.
You don't get anything. Now I'm like,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
let's
yeah,
go.
yeah. And then the times that you eat, eating at certain hours of the day and then stopping it. And I've been on that, that 18-6 mindset.
Intermittent
Yeah,
fasting type
intermittent
thing. Yeah.
fasting. And now you give your system time to cleanse itself. Again, when you go to sleep, now you in a good sleep or rest state,
Yep.
and then your body again it thanks you when you wake up, so you get your melatonin during the day from the sunlight,
Yep.
and then you get your serotonin at night when you're asleep, and that's your happy medicine. So now you wake up and you start it all over again.
It's not getting old. It's your body functioning in a proper manner because early evening, my body knows it's time to start winding it down.
Yeah, yeah,
But we start early
that's right.
because I'm naturally coming up with the sun.
Yeah.
Like there's no alarm clocks in my house.
Hey, look.
Well, my wife uses one about 30 times.
Oh, my wife used one too, and it shocks me.
Yeah.
So that's the part. But again, it is amazing how we are wired, and
Yeah.
I just think all of these things that what God did, He did by design, and He knew exactly what He was doing. We just messed
Amen.
it up.
Amen. Absolutely. We get in our own way more than
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
So for people, I know everybody and their mama
Hmm.
will go and go on their annual diets and stuff like that. But if you want to try a lifestyle change, we'll drop the link
Yep,
later today when I repost this. We'll put the link for the Healthy Hooper in
yep.
there, so you guys check that out. And then that kind of leads us to let's talk about the loss of your son BJ and how that the new book BJ Beats the Morning Rush came out.
Yeah.
So how did you process that? And this is I know it's a sensitive question, um, but I mean I can't imagine
Hmm.
my son, my youngest, is about to leave to go to the Air Force,
Yeah.
and just the conflicts of the world,
Yes.
whatever. And this is not a political uh, platform by any means, because I don't care who the president is, you're going to be
Hmm.
in some
Oh
conflict.
yeah, yeah.
So
Life
that's
is
just
conflict.
it's the nature of read the Bible. It's the nature of what God said was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's just I can't fathom the process.
Hmm.
And so having lost your brother, you're still grieving that
Hmm.
loss.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then, this. Just kind of lead us through it, man.
I,
Bet
I
however you want to.
so I mean I can't really even understand it myself. I had to speak at my son's life celebration, and I just told them how the dots were being connected of God saying, I got you, just kind of walk through it. So I said it's our Job moment. And and was my son ready? No. Was he prepared? Yes, because we prepared him from the day he was in mama's womb, how to live life. Coincidence? No. God's appointed time? Yes. Although we did not like it, did
Of
not
course
feel
not.
good
Yeah.
when we got the news, but on that morning of July 15, my wife wakes up and she said, I just had a dream that BJ gave us a white cup. So I said, well, maybe his cup runneth over. And we just kind of went about our morning. She goes into mama instinct, panic mode. And she goes to my youngest son and say, hey, did you see any time when BJ may have left? Can you check the cameras? So he checked. He didn't see anything. And she texts my son a little bit after that and say, are you still walking? Because he exercises early in the morning. He had that military mindset as well. We do more by 6 a.m. than most people do all day.
Amen.
And he was working with my youngest son, so she got no response. And then maybe 30 minutes or so later, that's when she looks outside and she says, "Hey, there's some cop cars outside,
Mm.
and they're coming towards our house." And that's when they came in and gave us the news. And from that point, our world was changed, because you never think that it would happen to you. And that was my mom's worst fear when she was alive. She said, "I'd rather go before y'all go." And I've never, in my wildest dream or imagination, would have thought it would have happened to me, right? And when my wife had that moment, it was as if my son was saying, "I'm okay. You're going to be good." So we kind of look at all of those things. And in this journey of my life, or in this segment, I was waking up at 4:44 a.m. in the morning. Look at the clock. It says 4:44. I talked to my wife about it, and it
That's
was,
standing out to you.
yeah, because it wasn't like I was trying to wake up at that time. I'd wake up and I look at the clock and it's like 4:44. And so I said, "Look, I don't know what it is, but let's seek it out." And years before, when my mom was alive, I was waking up at 3:33 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, wow.
And I tell people I'm not into numerology, but then when you seek God in this whole process, you start understanding how He speaks to you. He speaks to people in all kind of ways, but He was speaking to me in that fashion. And I looked it up in the book of Jeremiah, where it says, "Call unto me, and I will show you great and unsearchable things you do not know." And the journey continued on, and here I am now. It's this 4:44, and I'm waking up. So I was able to kind of put a lot of things together. And in the midst of the service, my friend Myron Guillory is speaking, and he said, "Everybody, let's take a stand and let's celebrate the life of BJ." Everybody starts clapping and standing. And when we get to the repast, a friend comes up and says, "Hey, were you aware of the time that was on the clock when Myron had everybody stand up?" It was 4:44 on the clock.
Oh, wow.
They snapshot it, right? So again, when I say coincidence, no, God's appointed time. And that was as if God is still saying, my son saying, "I'm okay." And God said, "I got you." So when we're walking through this journey, I'm thinking, how can I bring honor to my brother and my son? And I'd already started writing some stories some years ago. So what I did is I put my son in as the character. BJ beats the morning rush. And it's basically a story about a young boy who was always panicking, rushing in the morning, sometimes almost missing the bus. And the end result is uh, being prepared is better than just being ready. So
Yeah.
being ready is a feeling. Like before a game, we can all be hyped and jumping and shouting. But being prepared is, I know the assignment that I need to do. I know what number 2 is about to do. I know what number 45 is going to do.
Yeah.
So in that essence, we're teaching young people not just to be ready, but to be prepared, and not just young people, adults as well.
Yeah. Man, that's a lot. Yeah, man. And does that carry on with you even today?
Oh,
Like, you see the 444s, you see the 333s, like
it
just by
does.
coincidence.
It does. And I don't make any big thing about it. My wife and I, we'll communicate with one another.
Right,
And,
right.
and and again, it's in our grieving process and healing process, it's another comfort. We'll say, "Okay, we're gonna be all right today. We're gonna make it." So we're 9 months into it right now. And again, when I wrote the book and the first shipment of books came in, it was almost like having a grandchild. And I don't know what having a grandchild is like.
I'm about to find out.
Well, look, I told my other two sons, I said, "Hey, man, y'all need to go ahead and get married. I need some grandkids, so I can spoil them and send them back home to you." But it was almost that feeling. And every friend that I've spoken with, they say, "Byron, it's the greatest feeling." Like you think having kids is good?
Man, I'm
Man,
I'm buying stuff for the boy already, and
uh,
like I was in New York, got him a little "I Love New York" onesie.
yeah, yeah.
Like
I
it's
I'm ready for it.
yeah, you get to send this one home.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
get to
yeah.
have fun with this one.
Get the spoil and do
Spoil
all
them
the
and send
things you
them.
want to do, and boom,
Yeah,
that's
send
it.
them home.
Yeah.
So, How did this help you in the healing process of, using the example of the life? Because that's a powerful thing to
Yeah.
be able to do, and to honor, your brother,
Hmm.
with the healthy hooper, but then honoring your son and putting him into like a caricature, like
Yeah. Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
Yeah. And again, the gentleman that helped me bring my son to life in terms of that character
Hmm.
works right with me at BRCC,
Oh, very cool.
and I was just talking with him, and I said, I was considering doing AI, do the artificial intelligence and put everything together, and then I spoke with the gentleman at the Celtic or Celtic shop that
Celtic, yeah,
produce Celtic
Studios.
that produces films,
Yep.
and he says, hey, you might want to have somebody draw it because it's going to bring more life. It's going to be a more joyful journey. And when
Yeah.
I was talking with this is Jerome Vernell, who's my illustrator, he just said, "Hey, Coach, I do that." And I said, "Well, show me some of your artwork that you've done." And when he showed it to me, we started that journey. So we went from AI to RI, artificial intelligence to real intelligence.
There we go. There we go.
So somebody gonna dub that one as the RI. I like RI better than
Me too.
AI.
Yeah, absolutely. AI can't seem to just get it right.
Oh no, no, it helps though.
it,
On
it
some
it'll get you.
projects.
It'll get you a a, a generic
When you
or a recreated version of yourself.
well, sometimes when you talk about genetics, you may have 10 toes on one hand,
Yeah, yeah. You got to
or
be.
10 toes on one foot, or 10 fingers on one hand.
Yeah, you really got to be careful how that is. But yeah. So, talk to me about how your faith carried you through the losses of your brother and your son, and then,
Yeah.
during that process, how your faith was tested, and then how you instill your faith into your players to kind of help them grow as men.
Well, it's been all my faith in all God because any sane person would go insane from these type of ordeals.
Facts.
Just that fast. Two traumatic events back to back, and I just say, God, you're gonna have to help me through this. And it reminds me in the book of Job, where Satan says, "Hey, I see your servant Job. He's serving you. He's doing fine. He's progressing. But why don't you take something from him and see how much he serves you?" And my imaginary story is he sees Byron and Angel, which is my wife. They well put together. Family is strong. Couldn't shake us, but I know something that will shake him. So I imagine him presenting himself to God, and God said, "Okay, well, what you got in store? Why don't I just take his firstborn?" So in that process, my son was hit by a vehicle. They lost control, and I say at that exact moment where Satan says, "I got you," God says, "No, I got you." As the Bible says, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord.
Yep.
And even in death, there is victory. So our faith teaches us that we're going to be okay whether we're here or there.
Amen.
And I just look at it that way. So I taught my team the resilience because Stu, I'm telling you, I did not want to coach this year. Um, it was some therapy for me, but I almost was at the point where I wanted to step away from it. And if I could have taken 6 months to a year off, we still have life and we still have bills and all those
Yeah.
other things. But I just needed a time to step back. So my assistant coach, Coach Jake McDonald, stepped in at that time and it helped me a whole lot. So I would say the first 2 months or so of preparation, I'd come in, I'd do my thing, and I'd kind of step back a little bit and just did some behind the scenes stuff to where
Yeah.
we could keep everything flowing. But God was in it, and it showed my team that even when you're going through something that's challenging, you still have to have a degree of professionalism.
Hmm.
You still have responsibilities, and you still have to show up. So the thing that I showed them in that regard was I showed up every day. I showed up with the mindset I've got to get it done. And there were times where, I would just sit in my house and I'm like, I don't even want to go anywhere. I don't want
Yeah.
to be around anybody. I don't want to talk to anybody. And you get at your people limit, but then you have to. you know, put your big boy pants on, and then you have to go. So in the middle of the night, there's some words that came in my brain, and I'm thinking I posted it this morning where I was, just talking to God. God, why? And it was a clear statement of, now you understand what I felt by sending my son into this earth to die for the sins of the world. So that was okay, I got you. So what am I to do? Feed my sheep. Go tell everybody how good I am. Go tell everybody in this process that you can still see goodness and the goodness of God in it. And when God called Gideon, and Gideon was in the lowest clan in the land, and he's like, "Well, God, you want me to do this? Give me a sign,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
give me, the fleece, the wet, the dew on the grass, and vice versa." So he had all those, and he said, "Okay, I'm going to go out and do it." He overcame those victories. He won the battle through God's hand, and that's how I see this whole journey. That it's nothing that I can do within myself. If I could write a script, it would be totally different. My son would be here today. It would be talking a different story.
right, exactly.
But it was God's script, and I have to walk in it. And until He calls me home, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
And I kind of led off with the fact that how fitting it is that this is the week that we end up doing this after
Yeah.
several months, three plus months of talking about it.
Hmm.
Is it's on Easter weekend, the resurrection of Christ.
Yep.
For
Yep.
as you mentioned, God gave His only begotten Son
Yeah.
to us to wipe away
Yeah.
the sins of man,
Hmm.
and it was kind of it stuck with me all week. My pastor last Sunday, just kind of explaining to everybody that, he, he'll hear people talking and be
Hmm.
like, "Oh yeah, so and so got their angel wings." He's like, "I don't want to interrupt them and talk, let them feel good." No, they didn't.
That it
No, they didn't.
didn't.
They got a new body though,
Yeah, that's right.
and they
That's right.
feel good. They feel
Hmm.
better than you
No,
feel,
oh, way
but they ain't
better.
got no wings. They are living in that
And
paradisiac
oh man,
life
I'm
that
telling you,
that
more
that
more
we all
peace,
want, right?
desire.
So when we say homesick for heaven, we don't really mean homesick for angel wings and stuff. Though that's cool.
Hmm.
Angels are great.
Oh yeah,
They have a purpose.
that
That's not our
that's
purpose.
not.
That's not what the God created us for.
That's right. That's
When
right.
we're gonna have a beautiful life.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
when it's God's time to release the devil from the abyss in Armageddon. I mean,
Amen.
if you ask people, we've been going through Armageddon since 1914.
Oh yeah,
If
look,
you ask
look,
the
look,
the
look,
oldies,
look.
but
I can
nobody
say I
knows.
can say since 1972 when I was born.
Yeah.
you know.
But it's a special time, and I guess that can kind of lead us into our Easter message before we
Mhm.
hit the close here. What message do you have for those that are going through pain?
Well, there's strength in grief, and I was talking with my brother, my oldest brother, one day, and I said, I'm considering doing these songs, because I could see it in my wife. She was every time it was the first Thanksgiving, the Christmas, the first birthday, my birthday, her birthday, and then it ended up like I said, God, I gotta have something going for her. So these songs were placed in my heart and my spirit, and I put those words down. And one of the songs, "You Can Win," which talks about, my heart just felt heavy, didn't feel like I could go on. You could go to work just trying to cope. And sit in church holding on to hope. And all those things were going through my mind. So I put it in a song, and it's been touching people's lives. So
Yeah,
I turned that grief into something positive to where, okay, it happened. What's next? Let's fight through it. And as I mentioned, when you're going through hell, don't stop.
keep
Keep
on
going.
going.
Keep going.
So how does how does your story reflect Easter, the hope and the resurrection?
Well, let's think about this. We have hope that one day we're gonna be reunited, of course, with our BJ, but with other loved ones as well. And the book BJ Beach the Morning Rush, to me, that was like another resurrection of my son here on this earth. So to me, that's my resurrection story, which resurrects my life, my children's life, my wife's life, because we have that book. I should have brought one in today so we could post it up,
Yeah.
but but
Well,
but
yeah, we should have, man.
yeah. But with that, it's been a just an awesome, I guess, feeling and relief of like I at least get to talk to them or see some words from that perspective.
And we're still
They,
talking about him.
and still talking about them. It's going to be years and years that my grandkids and their children's children will talk about BJ because my son loved God. And I will tell you this portion of the testimony when I went to the funeral home to get the items, retrieve his items. Um, one of the things he had in his pocket was his Bible. So most times, a lot of times, guys get found with drugs and
Yeah,
weapons on them and all these other things. But to have the Bible in your pocket, my son was not running from God or never running from God. He was always pursuing and running to God.
that's beautiful. Beautiful thing.
So that's the testimony, for us.
God is good, and He has a plan, even though it doesn't always align with ours. And majority of the time, it does not align with ours
No,
because
no.
our way of thinking is improper.
Our way is not his way.
So, I mean, through loss came purpose,
Mhm.
through pain came a message,
Yeah,
and through faith came strength.
no doubt.
And Coach, it's been an honor to sit here with you.
I appreciate it.
For everybody who watches this and comes through, check out the Healthy Hooper. Check out BJ Beats the Morning Rush. We will drop the links. We'll continue to share on Instagram
Yes,
as
sir.
we collab with you on
Yeah, I
that.
appreciate that.
Coach, man, thanks for being a shining light in the community, a beacon of hope.
Yeah.
And through adversity, we find, as they say, pressure creates diamonds, right?
Yep.
You are a diamond in the community. It is an honor to know you and have been able to get to know you over the past 3 or 4 months. And just wish you all the best
Well,
for you, the wife, your other children, your future grandchildren,
that's right.
and all the success with the program here at BRCC,
Mhm.
and with the books, obviously, and the music
Yeah,
coming out
it's
now too.
all going along well, but again, BJ Beach Morning Rush, we have a theme song for that.
Yep.
We have You Can Win, and both of those are on iTunes.
All right. Well, check it out on iTunes as well, and we'll get those links